Welcome to Steel Stories by US Steel. In this podcast, we explore the wealth of knowledge from leading industry experts to help you navigate the infinitely developing, renewable world of steel.
Well, welcome to another episode of Steel Stories. My name is David Kirkpatrick. I'm your host. This is the first in a series of new episodes, which we're calling Voices from the Valley, the Mon Valley, which is where US Steel's facilities are located in Western Pennsylvania. And our guest today is Jason Zugai, who is a senior official at the United Steelworkers Local 227 at the Irvin plant of the Mon Valley Works of the United Steelworkers. So, Jason, tell us what your role is now. I know you were president of the local for a long time. So just tell us a little bit about your position in the union, what you do in the plant, and anything else you want to tell us about yourself.
So the previous position I held was the president for the past 3 years. The president now is Jack Maskell. He was the vice president. We switched roles. I am now the vice president of the local 2227. I work at the Urban plant, mobile equipment, crane trainer. I teach everybody how to run the cranes, mobile equipment all through the plant. Jack is also my partner. He's the other mobile equipment trainer. So it works out really well. You know, we work really well together. So we've been in the plant for 27 years. Actually started the same day together. So we've been through this journey since day one.
That's really cool. And you come from a family of steelworkers, am I right?
Oh, yes. Both of my grandfathers worked the U.S. Steel. My dad worked the U.S. Steel. My uncle, I have a lot of cousins that work at U.S. Steel. And yeah, third generation U.S. Steel employee.
So just maybe tell the listeners a little bit about the union, the company, the relationship. You represent how many workers there in the plant, and talk a little bit about that relationship, if you would.
So I represent approximately 800 workers at the Irvin plant. We also have amalgamated units of -01. They're the fire, security, and business planning as well. And then we also have Dorabon, which is a pipe mill in McKeesport. So the relationship's really good. You know, obviously we have our differences with the company. If you said you got along with them every day, you know, you wouldn't be doing your job. But we have a very good relationship with the company at US Steel. We get a lot of things done. We get a lot of things accomplished together. We just find that unique here at the Irvin plant, besides other places. Other places don't have that, but we have that better working relationship.
Great. And as I understand it, there's two other big plants in the area in the Mon Valley that are United States Steel plants that are also United Steelworkers local represented. One is the Coke Mill in Clairton, and then there's Edgar Thomson, which produces the big steel slabs. And the plant where you and the 800 workers you represent work is the rolling mill. Maybe you should just tell people a little bit about how that works, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. In Clairton, PA, they bring coal in, turn it into coke. They ship it by barge down to Edgar Thomson. They take the coke, they process it through there. They're the ones that produce the slab. So they send a steel slab up through us through a rail car. We get the slab, we put it through our hot mill, we roll it, and it goes through different departments depending on what the customer wants. But it goes through a bunch of different departments, different processes at the Urban plant, and then ultimately out the door to another facility. We do a lot of appliance market comes from the Urban plant.
So a lot of the final product that goes to the customer comes more from your plant than the other two are sort of constituent plants that lead to the final product. But as I understand it, that plant produces a lot of steel that goes into appliances.
We all need each other to work together. We need the coke. Yeah. We need the slabs from Edgar Thomson. Of course, then we process that and make it into a steel coil and ship it out. And most of our customers are appliance. We do other things as well, but that is predominantly our market.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about how you feel about this very big development that Nippon Steel has made a very solid offer for United States Steel. It's been controversial, and I'd love to know what you think about it.
Yeah, it's definitely controversial. I'm personally for the deal. I was very skeptical when the deal first came out. A foreign company owning U.S. Steel. But after I did the research, talked to a lot of people from different locals, Another local that actually been working with Nippon since 2012, which is Willing Nippon. Sat down with them, did a lot of reading, talked to people outside of the steel market that deals with Japan and different companies they own. I have a lot better feeling. And then now that they committed to the investments. I mean, the $2.7 billion is huge. The $1 billion just for our plant, right into the Mon Valley for a new hot mill is absolutely huge. That's exactly what we need to solidify our jobs for another 50 to 100 years. We're running with a 1938 hot mill. We're doing the best we can with it. The guys are awesome. They put it together, fix it up, and they're doing everything they can. But without a new hot mill, we're not going to be able to survive in the future.
Yeah, let's just make sure people understand. So Nippon Steel has committed to invest $2.7 billion into upgrading the company's facilities after the deal is completed. And approximately $1 billion of that would be to build a new version of the plant where you work effectively. Is that correct?
Correct. They're a new version of the hot mill. That would be $1 billion would be for a new hot mill. And that's the entry end of our plant. That's where everything starts, at the hot mill. Like I've said in the past, I'm very vocal on social media. I walk the plant every day. Guys see me. Jack is the president, me as the vice president. We're on the floor every day. We're asking the members what they want. This is what the majority of them want. So that's what we're going to push for. Like I said, my grandfather and my dad, they lost their job both in the 80s at Duquesne when they got shut down. They weren't in any position to fight for their jobs. One was an electrician, one was an operator. I find myself in a position of an elected official. I'm going to go out and fight every day to keep these jobs. That's what I'm going to do. I'm a short timer. I can retire in a couple years. But it's not about me. It's not about that. It's about everybody that works on that floor every day. They need to know that they're going to have their jobs. They're going to be able to get their pension. If their kids want a job when they get out of high school, that those jobs are going to be available to them. And that's very important to me going forward. And I believe that this deal was the deal that's going to get that done.
Well, and as I understand it, Nippon's also planning to make a lot of investments in environmental improvements and new ways of making steel that are less carbon intensive, which are also very expensive, which pretty much, in my opinion, are going to be necessary given the way the climate is changing. Steel's going to have to be made in new ways. And I'm curious if you think that's probably true and those investments will also be necessary.
Oh, definitely. I mean, as you know, the Mon Valley is in Allegheny County. It's, in my mind, the toughest county for regulations in the United States. So with the investments that Nippon's willing to make in the technology that they're bringing, Mr. Maurice has told me that they're 10 to 15 years ahead of us in technology when it comes to pollution, other things as well, but for pollution. I asked him if he was going to have trouble getting permits in Allegheny County like U.S. Steel had. And he said he believes they will not. He has ways to reduce our pollution and be way below the regulations that are called for right now.
Let's go back to your visit to Wheeling, because Wheeling Nippon is a United Steelworkers represented facility that Nippon's owned for many years. You mentioned going there. Can you just talk about that again in a little more detail? Like, what did you learn when you talked to the steelworkers, your steelworker brothers and sisters that were working at that plant?
We met for a lunch meeting with Forrest Wetfield. He's the president of Willing Nippon. Realized that, he's currently working for, Nippon, with Nippon. So no better person to ask than him. And he's a very good guy. We've talked on the phone many times and we agreed to meet for lunch. He brought his executive board. I brought mine. We sat down for approximately 2 hours and we asked the tough questions. How is working with Nippon? And he told me that they purchased their facility in 2012. He's been through a lot of different ownerships as he's been, has over 35 years at that facility. But he's been the president for over 25 years. And he said that they've never been as good as they are now. Nippon has come in. They've put a lot of money into their facilities. Their contracts get negotiated rather quickly. Everything's been good. And he had nothing but good to say about him. That made us feel a lot better knowing that, the people that actually been working with them for over 12 years, like everything that's happened.
Right. So they have a union just like U.S. Steel does, same union, and it's had excellent relations. That's quite interesting. So you feel that the Nippon commitments are strong commitments that you're confident they're going to keep?
I've seen them in writing. I mean, obviously they have to get signed. It has to go through attorneys. But in my mind, I've seen it in writing. If they're willing to put it on paper and they're willing to go through it all, and you have attorneys sitting down, that vouch for these commitments and hold them to them. Yeah, if that all happens, and I'm definitely for it. If everything is met, that way, we're definitely for it. There's not much else. We've asked for a bunch of different things, and we've gotten them all so far.
And as I understand it, your parent union has said a number of things they would like to see happen if Nippon were to buy it, and those have all been agreed to by Nippon. Is that correct?
As far as I know, that yes, they have.
If the deal doesn't happen, what world do you think we enter into then?
I don't think the Valley survives another 5 years, unfortunately. The market's changing. You're gonna have to invest in it. I believe with Nippon coming in, having Big River and all the integrated facilities, they can work together, and we be number one in the United States for steelmaking, and that's where we like to be.
When you talk to Nippon, as I understand it, they believe themselves to have more advanced technology than most American steel companies, which they could then put into play in these facilities in a way that might not otherwise be possible.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to be able to sit down with myself and Jack Maskell, the president, with Mr. Mori and Nippon for approximately 2 hours and asked the tough questions. We had a bunch of questions. He answered them all. The one big thing I said was, what makes you think that you can get the permits in the Mon Valley and Allegheny County that U.S. Steel has previously not been able to get? He told us that the Nippon is 10 to 15 years ahead of us in technology. And with that merger, we get all of that technology, and he's confident that he will be below the levels of the pollution and everything that everything in Allegheny County, all the EPA regulations. So with that, I mean, if you're pretty confident and he has the technology, then I say, let's go.
Yeah, I'll say. So there is a lot of opposition to the deal. Why do you think others oppose this deal?
Well, like I said at the beginning, I didn't like the deal at first. You think about a foreign company owning United States Steel, it's, unsettling at first until you do all the research, get down to it, and you realize they've already have facilities here. They're our ally, and they're ready to put a lot of capital into our facilities. So I don't know why everybody's against it. From talking to a lot of the local politicians, all the local politicians, the ones that I've talked to, are for the deal. They want to save the jobs, and I'm thankful for that. These are our jobs, and we want to save every one of them. And talking to them, they've talked to the governor, they've talked to senators. I haven't spoken to them myself, but from what I heard, they're starting to come around and looking at the big picture now and realizing that this is actually the best deal on the table for us.
What do you think about the argument that we need to keep United States Steel American owned?
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I understand the big picture, but we also need to grow. And I just don't believe that there's other companies out there right now willing to invest this kind of money into our facilities. So yeah, being American owned is great, and I'm all for it. But if we don't have the money and we're not working anyway, then we're going to take the investments where we can get them. And it's like I said, this isn't like it's China coming in. This is Japan. They're our ally, and I don't see a problem with it.
And it'd still be American workers making steel in the United States, and the company's name would remain the same as a subsidiary. So I guess they intend to keep the headquarters in Pittsburgh. So in many ways, it might feel very similar, with maybe new managers that are investing and maybe bringing new techniques. But it's a different thing than China, that's for sure. Does it frustrate you when you see all these other people opposing this deal, given how important it seems to be to you for this to go through?
Yeah, it's super frustrating for me. It's a lot of people that have done the research and have talked to the people. And these are our jobs that are on the line. And people that are opposing this don't understand this. This is our jobs. These are our livelihoods. Without them, what do we have? We have already shut down facilities in the 80s. We're going to shut down. Pittsburgh's known for steel. I mean, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. So why would you not want steel to stay in Pittsburgh for the long term? I just can't wrap my head around it.
So you mentioned that the other steel workers that you work with are, in general, quite supportive of the deal. Can you just talk a little bit about the mood in the plant and what the word on the street is about this deal?
Yeah, everybody's nervous. I mean, I walk through the plant every day, and they're nervous. They ask me what's going on, what's going to happen, and I tell them, we're fighting, we're trying to get this deal done. There's opposition from the politicians, the government, the international. There's opposition, but we just got to keep vigilant. We got to keep fighting, keep talking about it, keep pushing, putting pressure on whoever we need to put pressure to get this deal accomplished. But I understand they're nervous, and I feel for them. I'm right there with them. I work with them every day, and we're doing the best we can, and we're fighting every day to try to get this deal done. And you have people in the community. I mean, I'm big in sports. I coach a lot of sports. I have a business in the community outside of U.S. Steel as well, and I hear it every day. And they want to know what's going on. Do you sell it? Or is U.S. Steel going to be sold? Or are they going to shut down? I hear stories. My dad worked there. My grandfather worked there. I hope they don't close. They can't close that plant down. That will crumble Clarendon. That would crumble Braddock. West Mifflin. These places would not be the same. The landscape of these towns would not be the same if we do not have these facilities in there anymore. Clarendon's their taxes from the Clarendon plant, the town. If you talk to Mayor Richard Tansey, he will bring that home and explain to you that he needs that tax revenue from Clarendon to survive in his town. And I understand. I worked with Richard Tansey for a long time. He worked with me. We were safety reps together at the urban plant. I talked to Mayor Chris Kelly. He understands. He's talked to, other vendors that, you have to, it's not just about the steel workers, the people that work in the mill. It's the people that, that call on us. It's people that clean our clothes. It's people that, sell us, whatever we do, like all the contractors, the vendors that come in. It affects everybody. It's just not us. You will fill this wave for a long time, and it goes long. It goes wide.
So aside from your coworkers, do you think the community in general has realized that the best option is for the Nippon Steel deal to go through?
I believe they do now. I believe it started out slow, but from talking to people, they see it. They see the writing on the wall, and they see the offer on the table. I generally get a lot of support when I talk about it, and I'm very passionate about it. There's not a day that goes by that I don't have conversations with people in the plant, out of the plant, on this topic, and I don't mind. It's what we got to do to get it done. So I will talk every day, all day if I have to.
You're clearly an excellent leader who stays close to the troops, so to speak. I'm very impressed that your knowledge, your understanding, and your open-mindedness about the whole thing, and you're also extremely good at talking about it. So, well, is there anything you wanted to say about this deal that we didn't get to, or why you wanted to speak out in support of the deal?
I just wanted to speak out because I feel like I'm the voice of the members, the members that want the deal, and I have no problem speaking out. They know me. They know that I'll fight every day for them. Every day I will do whatever I can to save their jobs. And if they don't know that, they should know that by now. But I will do that every day. And I just really thank you for having me on and letting me speak, because I really need to get this point across, and I want everybody to see this. And I really appreciate the opportunity that you gave to me.
Thank you to Jason Zugai, Vice President of the United Steelworkers Local at the Irvin Plant at the Mon Valley Works, the United States Steel, also formerly president of that local. It's been a great conversation, and I thank you so much for having it. So please join us next time for another episode of Steel Stories as we continue our Voices from the Valley series. So thank you again, and see you next time.
Steel Stories is brought to you by US Steel. To find out more about our sustainable steel solutions and how our Best for All strategy allows us to re-envision the future alongside our customers, visit www.ussteel.com. Search for US Steel in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss a future episode. On behalf of the team here at US Steel, thanks for listening.